We're live. Hello, welcome. Hi, everyone. I'm Cherie and Cherie Joy. This is my YouTube channel, and you may be accessing this through Facebook or Instagram or my website, even. So, hello, welcome. My name is Cherie Joy, and I am here today to talk a little bit into some work that I offer around feminine empowerment. Let's find my words. Let's get into the flow today. So welcome to everybody who's joining me live, everybody who's here on the replay. And I am a psychotherapist, a psychologist. I'm a medicine woman, and I work with psychotherapy and ancient traditional medicines and understandings of the natural world to get the absolutely most beneficial feminine empowerment, family empowerment, and constellations that are required in this crazy ass world that we live in to allow for healing, to allow for space and wisdom to really come through in our families, in our workplaces, in our homes, in our hearts, really, to actually nurture what we really want. And today, I really wanted to talk into some of the offerings that I have, but I wanted to share with you why some of this stuff has come up for me. So previously, I have, as you will see in my history, that I've done some stuff called direct joy, and I've been talking into the subject around mental health and emotional well-being and how therapy can really help us to access the greatest version of who we are and who our families are and how we show up in the world. And what's now been brewing over the last kind of 6 to 8 months is a new, yet old way of being that is allowing me to break through into my work some of my learnings and the things that have come up for me around how I can show up as a traditional psychotherapist with all of the ancient tools and the ecotherapy work that I do, and also all of the women's circles that I run, the retreats and the workshops, and how integrating emotional work, energy work, the mental work, and also the physical work can really allow us to bring about healing. And why do we need healing? There is a lot for us to deal with, especially as women in this. There's a lot for men to deal with as well, right? And that's why I do fire circles, the where men and women are welcome. But today I really want to talk into the fact that there's a lot as women that we go through when we are facing change and when there are broken promises, when there are missed opportunities, and when there is loss, and what happens around those areas. And it feeds into all of us, right? This could be a pattern that you have been experiencing for a number of years, a number of months, or maybe just a number of weeks, or just had a traumatic loss, whatever it might be, whether it is divorce, miscarriage, whether it is childbirth and postnatal, whether it is just stuck and burnt out and really in a rut. I want to offer something in the feminine healing in this space to be able to bring a sense of what we can really do, how we can focus our purpose and our desire work onto our healing, so that we can really allow the bones of loss to become the underpinnings that we fatten up ready for the blooming of the summer. And we can actually allow the bones to be the broth, to be the awakenings of what we want it to be. And we all know from broth that there is so much nutrition, there is so much goodness, and we forget that. We easily forget that because it's so hard in the difficult times that we go through, in the losses. in the missed opportunities and in the broken promises. And that can span so much when we are working mothers, when we are mothers to be, when we have the promise of being a mother that doesn't happen, as wives, as partners, as girlfriends, as daughters, as sisters, and the coming together of women for more than just coffee and Tupperware mornings is an ancient understanding. I always remember my mum going to Tupperware parties, and I wish we still did that. I was saying to my neighbour over the weekend, I wish we still did that. I really, anyone who's having a pampered chef party, invite me. Anyone who's having a candle party, invite me. Having space to do this and to join together as women in all of the age ranges that we have, and all of the yeah, just let's build these communities of women, because it's so important. As we look back to ancient times, we know about the meetings of women in community, the Women's Institute, and the yeah different institutes that have come about in different ways. Red tents. There are lots and lots of ways that we can join together as women. And I run women's circles here in Bexhill. And I also run retreats across the country. My next one is in September in Forest Row at the Enchanted Glade with the wonderful Maria. I'll be hosting that there. And bringing together how we can allow healing together, because we feel so lonely when we have these experiences, when we go through divorce and loss, and we go through all of these things that actually, many of us women do. If you go for coffee with women, if you hang out with other women, if we join together in sisterhood, you find that a lot of the experiences that we have are very similar. And these date back to our very early ages, our very early developmental ages. Even when we're hanging out at school and we feel maybe the lonely one, or we're not feeling the same as the others, and we're not fitting in culturally, and that sense of loss that starts very early on. Or maybe we don't make the sports team, or maybe we don't read as fast, or we don't read the same books, we're not interested in the same things, or maybe we're the one copying homework. All of these things trigger memories that filter through into when we stand at the playground gates, or when we're in the queue for an early scan, and that scan gives us information that we maybe don't want. Probably don't want if we're in that queue, to be honest. So what is it as mothers to be, as daughters, as sisters, and women journeying together, that actually we can offer together and come together? So I'd like to not dwell too much on the brokenness and the disconnect today, but actually invite us to a place where we can connect together and understand that there is a time for all of us to be cyclical beings. We are nature and nature is us. And what happens when we tune into that cyclical understanding? What happens when we understand what our bodies are doing, what our minds are doing, what energy is doing, what our souls are leading us to heal? And when we go back to maybe traumatic times, we can revisit and find messages from those times, which is what we do in psychotherapy. It's what we do in actually going back to inform the future. And that isn't just going back and saying, oh, my mum and dad did this and this happened in my childhood. Okay, this is about actually allowing ourselves to go deeply into the unconscious sense, the nuances in the shadows of actually who we are and what we're being challenged and invited to take up space for, to change our future. And when challenging times come up, when we go through abandonments, when we go through losses, when we go through grieving, this stuff gets raw, right? This stuff takes us to the duvet, it takes us to the bottle of wine, it takes us to the lonely places. And what would it really be like to actually give ourselves the opportunity to do those things? Because that's what we're used to and that's what we do. But what would it be like to then say, okay, how can I do this differently? What would it be like to move with this? What would it be like to invite an emotional place of healing? What would it be like to think about how you can shift this up and what these relational patterns are? How we can rewrite some of the narratives, rewrite some of the stories. One of the things that I'm offering at the moment is a space to rest and nurture yourself, at workshops that I run, at women's circles that I run, and at the retreat I'm due to run around the autumn equinox, September the 29th, at the Enchanted Glade. What happens when we do things differently, but actually we draw upon the old wisdom of how women in our society used to do them? What happens when we offer ourselves that self love? And importantly, tune in. So tune into our cycle. As women, we have cycles, whether we're still bleeding or not. We have a space to be that creatrix, to be that cleansing energy for our families. They say that we cleanse together, and you'll know if you've ever lived with a group of women, you tend to bleed at the same time. And I'm really interested in this stuff. I'm really interested in how this feeds into our psychotherapy as well. So when you work with me, expect to talk about some of that stuff. And this is where this is where I start to combine my processes and start to combine my work and become the medicine woman that I am. Because actually, when we think about our backgrounds, our patterns of relating, how we're showing up in the world, our narrative, our cycle, what's going on in your womb? Yeah. What's going on? And what do you want to create? Be it a project, be it a baby, be it a new relationship. What is it that actually you desire? What's your purposefulness? And we tie that into the seasons as the wind blows behind me. What is blowing away? As the stream and the seas have different tides and flowings, what's happening with that? What happens with our moon cycles, our sun cycles? What's happening in our stars? What do we want to seed? What do we want to bloom? What do we need to rest with a bit? What do we need to just kind of like, nestle into and collect some more information for our nest? What is it that we want to feed into our societies, into our cultures, into our families, into our internal heart led being? All of this stuff I find absolutely imperative to the work that I do, and combining this traditional psychological approach with the old ancient ways of being, in hopefully a kind of very new multi-dimensional way, in the fact that you get to allow yourself to see your soul journey through that, to see actually what are you feeling spiritually awoken to. I have a very solid faith that I draw on very much so. And even today, this morning, preparing and over the last couple of days, really, or probably the last 6 to 8 months since my last direct joy, I have been preparing this, I think. And one of the songs that came to mind actually was based on Ecclesiastes in the Bible, which the song was a time to born. There's a time to be born, a time to die, a time to reap, a time to weep, a time to heal, a time to laugh, a time to dance. There's lots more to that song and there's lots more to that quote, but it really stuck in my head, one of the song worms. And actually, what is it I help people to sow with the skills that I have and the work that I love to do so much, that allows you to reap? So the sowing is together with me, but the reaping really is. And I've had some feedback even this week of people saying, like, I'm really reaping. I'm really reaping what we're sowing here. And testimonies are always awesome, aren't they? But actually, the living it is even more awesome. So my invitation for you today is that if you're in a broken place, which many of us experience many times, if there's the challenges, if there's the missed opportunities, rest, eat, rest, get under your duvet, howl if you need to. Boy, howl. Just keep howling when you need to, because when you howl, it brings in the support that you need. And if any of the work that I can do can be supportive, please, please, please let me know. Like I say, I'm based in Bexhill, but I also work on Zoom. And my medicine woman approach is very much seeded and helping people to reap what they do. And it's there for you. I do have space at the moment for one, possibly two more people to work with. So if you do feel called, please do. But I do also have, so my work ranges across a variety of different provisions dependent on what's in your back pocket and what's in your purse. So yeah, get in touch. I love to hear from people, and it's a really, really important thing to do when you go through times of grief is to see that actually there is a path to joy. And those two things are very closely linked, I can assure you, with my surname being Joy. So, yeah, let's take some time to really connect in with what you desire, what your purpose is, what are you creating, and sometimes when those challenges comes up, what can we really seed in at this time? What can we take? What can we compost? Even though it's a very, very challenging time, so let's work with you through those challenging times in the best way how. And if you'd like to know more, please check out my website. Please sign up as well, because there are some newsletters that get sent out once, twice a week, a month, not a week. Wow, that's a commitment. I'm also working on a book. So yeah, just have a look out and see if that's something that resonates with you. And I look forward to connecting in with you again soon. Take care, everyone.